of the most profound movements, and one of the first real social movement in American history was all about slavery, and that's labor. And it was about creating a different kind of democracy, different kind of way of thinking about the economy. And I think these battles aren't over. The African American portion of American wealth as a whole is 3% today. And the last time it was 3% was in 1868, 3 years after slavery. African Americans going back to before the Civil War, and the earliest African American spokespersons and writers and leaders like Frederick Douglass and others argued that the fundamental feature of the American economy was dehumanization. And they also argued that you can't have a democratic constitution and an economic system that degrades and exploits people. Many of the radical Republicans who fought for the Civil War and in the Civil War believed the same thing. I think the true intent of the 13th Amendment wasn't just to eliminate chattel slavery. It was to eliminate all forms of economic oppression and create what we would now call living wages for everybody. I think that was the true intent. But these things were overthrown. After the Civil War, there was a counter-revolution, Lincoln's assassination, the destruction of Reconstruction. We got segregation, which wasn't just about making white people feel superior, it was about a cheap labor force, which persisted. The 1963 March on Washington, where everyone sees Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Well, King wasn't head of that march. A. Philip Randolph was, the first black trade union president. The demand of the march was for jobs and freedom. Jobs came even before freedom. That sort of dream of a new kind of economy was tightly connected with thinking about voting rights and a new kind of politics. And when African Americans said we refuse to work as basically semi-slave laborers with no rights and no voting rights and no protections, and my generation said we're not going to do that work that our parents did, then employers started bringing undocumented immigrants into the country to work with no rights and no protections. And when the government said, well, what are we going to do with all these young folks like me who don't want to do this kind of semi-slave work? They didn't reform the economy. They said, let's lock them up. And we got mass incarceration. And so I think all of these things are related to our history. All of these things are part of the challenge of changing the system. And the system connects these things.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Next.
You taught him how to hit a baseball.
Just like that. Say hi!
How to hit a receiver.
Nice.
The strike zone. The net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
But instead of Bill Press this morning, you have me, Jimmy Williams. Good morning, America. And good morning, Peter. How are you?
I'm well, Jimmy. How you doing, bud?
I'm alive. That's all I can say.
Good to see you.
Madeline Kahn right now. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. We've got a big show today. Lots to get to. We've obviously got Peter here. Jamie. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, sir.
Ray's helping us screen the calls. Thank goodness. Cyprian is out sleeping. He's a slacker. So we have Monty doing video for us. Thank you, Monty, for making us all look gorgeous at this hour of the morning. You can catch us live on Free Speech TV and TawkrTV. And Free Speech can be seen on DirecTV, which I have, and Dish, which I don't have. Talker is youtube.com/TawkrTV, and that's TAWKR. We don't like to spell well around here.
No, that's right.
That's right. Why spell well when you can just say it?
We got two South Carolinians in studio. How could we possibly spell
How could you spell it all?
Right? Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
How do you spell tweet? TWEAT. Tweet. That's right. You can tweet us at BP Show and call us, would you please? 866-55-PRESS. 866-55-PRESS. And if you don't know where the numbers are and the letters are on your phone, I can't help you. You shouldn't call us anyway. So we got a lot to get into. We've got some major primary results, a couple of upsets, or one upset last night. If you want to call it an upset, I think it's an upset. But before we get to that, let's have a conversation about the Full Court Press.
This is the Full Court Press.
Here we go. Just a couple of other stories making news. You remember Clay Aiken. Clay Aiken of
Yes.
American Idol fame. He also went on to actually run for Congress.
In North Kakalaki.
That's right, in North Carolina. And in between all of that, he also went on The Celebrity Apprentice, which was hosted by, of course, Donald J. Trump.
He got fired.
But that's not going to stop his mama from voting for Donald Trump. Clay Aiken's mom is going to vote for Donald Trump, even though he fired her son on national television. Now, my mama would never do that.
My mama's voting for Hillary Clinton.
That's right. Yeah, right.
And she's a conservative. She's voting for Hillary Clinton.
So here you go. This Clay Aiken's mom lives in North Carolina still, and she's going to vote for Donald Trump in this election, despite the fact that she ridiculed her son, fired him on national TV. Isn't that something?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of with this. On siding against her son.
Yeah, true.
Just don't vote for Trump. Look, vote for anybody else. Is her last name Mrs. Aiken?
Oh, I have to see what her name is. He didn't reference her.
We'll just refer to her as Jane Aiken, okay? Mrs. Aiken. Mrs. Aiken, stand by your man, i.e. your son, please.
That's right? Isn't that the thing to do?
It's the right thing to do.
It's the thing to do.
I mean, when you get in the voting booth, you can vote for whoever you want to. But don't say shit like that. That sounds awful. It's terrible. It's mean. It's bad. He was in your loins for 9 months. Good
yeah,
grief.
right? Come on now.
If my mother did that to me, I'd be ticked.
Yeah?
Ticked.
While we're talking about reality television, we found out the new cast.
You mean the presidential race?
Yes, of course. We found out the new cast of Dancing with the Stars yesterday. It was revealed on Good Morning America. Did you know that it's season 22? Season 22 of Dancing with the Stars. We hear some of the members of the cast. Misha Barton, who was on the OC. Von Miller, reigning MVP of the Super Bowl. Jodie Sweetin of Fuller House and Full House. Niall DeMarco. Anybody know who Niall DeMarco is?
Absolutely not.
He won America's Next Top Model. Kim Fields. Kim Fields, you know who she played? She played Tootie on The Facts of Life.
Get out.
Tootie is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Now I'll watch it.
Yeah, right? Antonio Brown from the NFL Steelers. Marla Maples, the former Miss Donald Trump. Doug Flutie, former quarterback. And Geraldo Rivera.
About time.
Wow.
About time, yeah.
I know 3 out of like 10.
There are a couple of others in there that I just honestly don't.
I've never watched that show.
No, I haven't either.
Maybe like 2 minutes of it.
You know, I'll tell you
passing.
what. I tuned in once when Tucker Carlson was on the show years ago. You remember that?
No.
He was the first person voted off. He was horrible.
Well, I'm going to have a conversation with Tucker.
Have a conversation with Tucker.
Doing
because
that in the first place is just tacky.
He was so bad on that show.
I've never watched it either. I call it Dancing with the Former Stars.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that's what that F stood for.
It's way too early in the morning for that kind of language.
And we heard that Amazon was going to be opening up a physical bookstore in New York City. This was a couple months ago. They said that they're going to open... yeah, right? Everything that's old is new again, Jimmy.
Wow.
They're opening up an actual brick-and-mortar bookstore in New York. We found out yesterday, according to the San Diego Union Tribune, that they are opening up a second physical bookstore in the San Diego Mall. It's going to be between...
There's a mall in San Diego?
Yeah, right,
People
apparently people do that when you live in, like, the greatest weather city in the country. You want to go inside.
75 and sunny.
All the time.
Every day. Christmas Day.
It's going to be right between an Apple store and a Tesla store, so I think...
Appropriate.
I think that's pretty appropriate, yeah.
Well, since you can't helicopter or, fly in your Tesla within 30 minutes of buying it on Amazon, I guess you could just walk next door
exactly.
and buy your Tesla.
Just do it there.
Right.
So,
This has got to be really embarrassing for the former CEOs of Barnes & Noble and Borders, by the way.
Right.
It's all come full circle.
I mean he just waited
like
for them all to shut down, and then boom.
Yeah.
I think I'll open a brick and mortar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terrible.
I mean, I do kind of
hate
hate it on some level, right? Because Amazon has been responsible for, the closing of so many of these giant bookstores.
Well, and small bookstores.
And small bookstores.
But I will say I buy my laundry detergent from Amazon.
Oh, I buy just about everything from Amazon. I buy so much stuff from Amazon.
I'm Prime.
Dude, how could you not be?
I mean, it makes Christmas so
Oh, my God. Christmas was the greatest.
Because of this.
Because of Amazon Prime.
My niece, she wanted 2 movies, the Field Trial, the Trial, I don't know, something. Some movie, like futuristic bull. I don't know what it is.
Oh, The Maze Runner? Is this The Maze Runner? Okay, all right.
Yeah, she wanted these, so I bought them for her for Christmas, Hanukkah, as I call it, which I put all the holidays together.
All of them together.
Right, I put all made-up holidays together around the late part of December. And so I had them Amazoned to her parents' house where I knew she would be. And apparently they came in like this flimsy package with barely any bubble wrap, and the DVDs were broken.
No!
And so I took them back.
Yeah.
I went online, I took them back to a store, they shipped them back. They charged me a restocking fee that was almost as much as the DVDs.
Get out.
Nope.
Are you serious?
I'm not serious. I'm not joking.
That's actually...
And then the next, literally, as I leave that store to ship them back, I go into Target to buy something, and I see them, and they're like all of them.
Yeah.
And for like, whatever the price.
$5.
So I buy them, go back to the same store where I've just shipped them back to Amazon, right? And shipped them all to her. She gets them the next day, and she's happy.
That's pretty great.
So Amazon failed me.
An Amazon fail is a sad fail.
It's a sad fail. But that's okay. There are lots of sad fails.
That's
We're
true.
going to talk about all of those.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of
today.
them.
Marco Rubio.
Exactly right. Marco Rubio. Let's talk about little Marco, as
Little
he's called.
Marco.
Which he's not that little. He's taller than me. And his ears certainly are bigger than mine.
He's got big ears.
He's got the biggest ears in free America.
Yeah, the little Marco thing is so funny to me that has stuck for the Donald Trump crowd, because he's not a little guy.
No.
I mean, maybe compared to Donald Trump, he's a couple of inches.
He was a high school quarterback, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe a couple inches shorter than Trump, but Trump's a tall dude. So Trump's
taller. I mean, he's not like 6'5", but he's
little
tall.
Marco. Little Marco.
I think we have some audio with Trump actually saying something kind of nice about Rubio. Maybe I don't know.
He's going to make his own decision. I've actually had a good relationship with Marco, believe it or not. He became hostile about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I've actually had a good relationship just in the last 2 weeks.
Who in the world believes that?
Listen, he called him an orangutan, which is what Bill Maher calls him, right? I mean, I'm sorry. Trump doesn't get to, once you're defeated, once you're fired, Trump doesn't get to like you anymore.
No.
I'm sorry, because then at that point, the person who got fired or the person he doesn't that he defeated, they get to determine whether he's liked or not. Right? That's how it works. But Rubio,
that's so hilarious.
I mean, Rubio's
to me.
numbers last night were just abysmal. I mean, he won 9.3% of the vote in Michigan. He won 5.1% of the vote in Mississippi. I'm sorry, when you can't get above 15% in a basically a five-way primary in the Republican primary in a state like Mississippi, then you have a bigger problem.
This was sort of the narrative coming into last night is like, can Marco Rubio maybe not win, right? Because that's sort of a long shot in all of these states for him to win, but can he be competitive? Right? Like if he can
5.1% is not competitive.
It ain't competitive.
Right.
And he wasn't competitive in any of the states. He was a distant third or fourth even in every single primary yesterday.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't competitive on any level. I was looking at Michigan. Donald Trump won Michigan 36.5%.
36.5%. That's winning today, folks.
That's winning.
Winning is 1/3.
Ted Cruz kept it close. He was 12 points behind, a little under 12 points behind, 24.9. John Kasich was right behind Ted Cruz, 24.3. So he almost caught Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio, 9.3.
I mean, 9.3%. I'm just wondering, who are you? But, here's the thing, and I keep saying this, or I keep thinking this, and I've said it before. If Cruz wins with 36.5%, then exactly who is the 63.5% that hate him?
That's a good
If the
question.
Republican electorate is showing up, and we have Donald Trump acknowledges this one fact, and this is important, folks, because I think it's an important distinction that we're going to talk about today throughout the show, and that's this.
The Democrats are down 35%. They're down from what they were. We're up by 50% and even more than that. You're talking about millions of people. So I actually think it's the biggest story in politics today. And I hope that the Republicans will embrace it.
Millions of people.
Millions.
I think he means millions of people.
Millions
I think that's
of people.
what he means.
Millions.
All right, so let's take Donald Trump on his word, on face. If Donald Trump is right that millions and millions of more Republicans are showing up to vote for Donald Trump, and the Republicans in general, because there's an enthusiasm level heretofore unforeseen. Okay, if that's the if that's the case, then 63% of the people showing up to vote for him think he sucks, that he blows. That's what's important here, folks. So if 63% of Republican voters think you blow, and not in a good way, then that means that you have a bigger problem down the road and called the general election.
Yeah. No, I think
Is this lost on anybody?
No, that's a very, very good point. And I think that one of the narratives that I think is just very lazy in this election is, oh, well, if Marco Rubio gets out, all of his support will automatically go to Ted Cruz. Or if Ted Cruz gets out, all of his support
Well, that's what they said about Ben Carson. Where do those people go?
Right. I mean, if for whatever
they didn't
reason,
go to Trump?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like we don't know, if a guy like Marco Rubio drops out, he got 9.3% in Michigan. 9.3 would not have won it for Ted Cruz, even if he got every single Marco Rubio voter. Right. But that's also under the assumption that every single Marco Rubio voter is automatically going to go to Ted Cruz. And that just won't be the case.
I mean, I guess Rubio's numbers, they say to me, I mean, we have a debate, I think, tonight, right? Today, right? Tonight.
When is it
The Democrats are tonight. The Republicans are tomorrow night.
Okay, so we got another debate coming.
Yeah.
If this guy's not above the threshold or whatever these
Oh, good
I mean,
point.
is he going to be on the stage?
That's a
Is he
good
going to
point.
have his own solo debate at 5:30 p.m. Eastern
His
Standard
own
Time?
JV debate.
You know, I
Wouldn't
mean,
that
is
be
he going to
something?
have the Marco Rubio solo show? I mean, what is that? What
The
is that?
variety hour.
I hate to interrupt this, but he actually does have a town hall tonight just with himself on MSNBC.
Why would they do that?
During the Democratic debate that's going to be on CNN. And
Why would they
Univision.
do? I
Wait a minute,
don't
on what station?
Univision and CNN.
He has an Univision and CNN. He has his own town hall.
That's the debate tonight.
Okay.
And the town hall one-on-one, Rubio, I think it's Chuck Todd, is on MSNBC.
Why would he do?
No
why would
comment
he do
as
that?
a former MSNBC. And the cameras are rolling, so I can't really actually even make a face. So I won't. That's right.
So there.
Yeah. Hey, guys, give us a call, 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. We'd love to hear what you think. If you're calling from Michigan or any of the 4 states that voted last night, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. And we'll be back. We got more coming. In fact, we've got David Jackson from USA Today coming in a little bit. And that should be very, very interesting. We'll see you in a little bit.
Your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is The Bill Press Show.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor, but with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. I mean, how could you not? You know, you get Start the Day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about, we talk about. The commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independence depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep free speech TV going. So now's the time for the spring pledge drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And I'm Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press, who is going to be, can I announce where Bill's coming out of tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bill's going to be hosting live out of Chicago, Illinois tomorrow.
That's right.
And that's a big deal. So you guys tune in tomorrow morning, please, I beg you, because I will be catching up on all the sleep that I missed today. I think we have David from Detroit, that would be Detroit, Michigan, on the phone. David, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey now.
Wait. Did you just call two people from South Carolina, gentlemen?
Well, everybody deserves to be...
No, not us. Not us, David. Not us. No, not David, not us. I promise you, not us. But anyway, did you have a question, my friend?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What's your question?
What's your question, buddy?
Oh, well, it's not so much a question as it's so much as what was going on with the rank and file. I'm in the building trades union. I'm a pipe fitter. So
Thank you very much for what you're doing. Thank you very much for what you do, by the way.
Well, okay, thank you. So even in talking not only with fellow pipe fitters, plumbers, the piping trade, to electricians, the carpenters, the rank and file members, even though our national unions who came out and supported Hillary, is that we're all voting for Bernie. And the feeling is that the Clintons, i.e., the Democratic Establishment Party, hasn't done a whole heck of a lot for unions in the last 30 years. You know, we've seen failure after failure after failure to stand up and fight and really do anything, and, you know, and trade agreements. And so rank and file people really voted for Bernie, I think.
Well, that's an improvement since 38% of all union members vote Republican every election anyway. So I guess that's an improvement.
Look, you know, the interesting thing in this election, because Bernie Sanders did win Michigan last night. It was close, but he won. Hillary Clinton won Mississippi. So the election goes forward. The election goes on. Bernie Sanders still in it. The math is awfully tight for Bernie Sanders, but the math is still there on some level. But again, you know, look, what we've said on the show is two great candidates, right? Either candidate, they're both doing a good job. They're both running good campaigns, and we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you this, David.
On.
Let me ask you this, David. If Clinton wins the nomination, are you going to vote for her?
Oh, absolutely. Look at the other side of the aisle. Those are a bunch of numbskulls.
Well, they are discussing penis size.
Usually votes.
You know.
An old German Lutheran. She voted for Bernie because she wasn't going to vote for anybody that wanted to talk about penises.
See, there's my point. Exactly. This is my point, David. Hey, thanks for being a member of a union. Thanks for what you do, and thanks for calling in and keep up the fight and keep voting, by the way. We appreciate that.
I was saying, you know, the fact that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio were arguing over the size of their hogs is a great endorsement for female candidates on either side of the aisle. Because you know what women candidates won't do? Go out there and get into a measuring contest with their opponents.
Well, all I can say is this. I'm from South Carolina. I'm a white guy. I really have nothing to say about size.
You got good hands. You got big hands. You know what to say about a guy with big hands.
I have no hair.
Boy.
But my beard is fabulous. Absolutely. Okay, folks, we'll be back in just a minute.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor. But with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. I mean, how could you not? You know, you get Start the Day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about, we talk about. The commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independent depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep Free Speech TV going. So now's the time for the Spring Pledge Drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
And unfortunately for you, I'm Jimmy Williams. Bill is snoozing this morning. Actually, he's on his way to Chicago. You can catch the Bill Press Show tomorrow morning live from Chicago, Illinois.
By the way, I just want to point out, tonight's the night if you want to go to a book signing in Chicago. It's at the Book Market in Glenview. It's on Navy Boulevard. Bill is going to be signing books, copies of his book, Buyer's Remorse, which Vanna is showing you right now. Buyer's Remorse by Bill Press. You can go meet Bill, have him sign your book, talk to him. I'm sure he's going to be up for talking politics tonight. 6:30 p.m. there, Chicago time. You can go and see Bill. So again, that's at the Book Market in Glenview. This evening at 6:30 p.m. on Navy Boulevard in Glenview, Illinois.
And you should do it, because if you don't, I'll kick your ass.
There you go.
Yes. In fact, Bernie Sanders says, Bill Press makes the case. Read this book. You should listen to what Bernie Sanders this time you should
go check it out.
Says. It's funny. Listen, I have book envy. My attorneys, they keep saying to me, Jimmy, you need to write a book, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, look, here's the deal. It's enough for me to get up in the morning, do my business, drink my coffee, write, do my podcast, do the things that I do, play with my dog, et cetera, et cetera. I really would appreciate it if you would tell me that I don't have to add something else
That's
to
just
my
what
day.
you need.
Because I think I'm not famous enough that I'm going to have to actually have someone pin my book for me. I'll probably have to do the work. I'll probably have to actually do the work, which means I don't know that you're ever going to see a book out of Jimmy Williams. Now, we just had David calling from Detroit, and he talked about, he's a pipe fitter, and he talked about the American worker and how, Democrats, et cetera, have not benefited from their policies. Yesterday, something fascinating happened on Morning Joe, and my former colleague Joe Scarborough said something, and I want you to listen to this because he's not talking about Democrats here.
Herein lies the problem with the Republican Party. It never trickles down. Those people in Trump's crowds, those are all the ones that lost the jobs when they get moved to Mexico and elsewhere. The Republican donor class were the ones that got rich off of it because their capital moved overseas and they made higher profits. And you can say the same with national security.
Add Wall Street. Thank you, Nicole Wallace. We appreciate you saying that about Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yes, you're donors, but we appreciate that. This is fascinating. So I've got a Democrat who's a member of the Pipefitters Union in Detroit who is saying that he has a problem with Hillary Clinton because of trade deals that her husband, by the way, passed.
Yeah.
You have Joe Scarborough saying the reason Donald Trump has these voters at his rallies is because of trade deals. The trade deals, the trickle down doesn't work. Now, I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I can tell you this. It tells me that you have a lot of people that are pissed off because old school jobs are going away, and they've been going away for 20 years.
Yeah.
And the question is what do you do about it? So instead of everyone bitching and complaining that, oh, this job is gone and this job is gone and that pipe fitting job is gone or this textile worker job is gone, because you and I are from South Carolina and we know a little something about textiles, workers, right?
Yes, indeed.
Right. So those are gone. And we're never going to make tube socks in America again. We're not making tube socks in America ever again, America. I want you to hear me. Tube socks are not going to be made in America. But the technology to design a fabulous tube sock, that can be made in America.
Yeah.
And you should be taught how to do that if you lose your job. When I was a Senate staffer, you should know this because this is important. We offered an amendment on the floor. I was working for Dick Durbin at the time, the Senate Democratic whip, that said, if you lose your job because of a trade bill, excuse me, the federal government should train you in computer sciences.
Oh, wow.
And it was defeated.
Why would you defeat that?
Because the Republicans saw it as a poison pill. They saw it as a poison pill to the trade bill.
Yeah.
This was during the China bill.
Yeah.
Now, this is not complicated. If the federal government forces you to lose your private sector job because it can be made somewhere else.
Sure.
And America's corporations don't do right by their people some of the time. Much of the time. Then if that's the case, then in fact the federal government should teach you how to do something else. But it takes two to dance. We talk about dancing with the stars. How about dancing with the government?
Yeah.
Okay? Because but you can't be reluctant and say, you know what, wait a minute, no. I only know how to make tube socks. No, now you don't. Now you don't because you need to learn something else.
Yeah.
And that's the way globalization works. Listen, every marriage is pretty and ugly in this world. I've never met a marriage that was perfect, not even the Reagans. Seriously. And so
especially.
We'll talk about Nancy Reagan a little bit because I think that's important.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that here's the deal, America. I believe in the next century. I believe in what's ahead for our kids, and I believe you shouldn't be left behind. But you also can't sit around and say, well, my job is gone. You know what? Get off your ass and learn another trade. And if the federal government cause you to lose your job, we should pay to have you retrained in something else so that you make a great living wage, have great benefits, you don't lose what you've invested already, and you can retire easily and comfortably knowing that you did, a good day's work. That's the bottom line.
That's very well said. And it really comes down to that central argument that Republicans and Democrats have, right? Of progressives, liberals, Democrats, or whatever you want to call us. Yeah. They have to defend the role of government at every turn, right? Yeah. And so the best explanation I think I've ever seen of this was Elizabeth Warren several years ago when you talk about people who have built up these great companies because they pulled their bootstraps up and they made it happen. No, you didn't. You drove your products, delivered your products from your factory to the stores on highways that we built as a country.
As taxpayer dollars.
Exactly.
That's right.
Your factory and your goods are protected by a police force that is paid for by the government, the taxpayer dollars.
Not to mention all the corporate welfare.
And all the corporate welfare.
We run around having a conversation about personal welfare, food stamps, this, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I mean, if we're really going to have a conversation about that, then let's have a conversation about corporate welfare.
Yeah.
Because frankly, I love small business, but I really don't think I should be subsidizing the bonus depreciation that you get for your stupid computer because you own a small business in Topeka, Kansas. I just don't.
Yeah, no, I think
because
that
makes
sense.
you no different than Clive and Bundy or the Koch brothers, or
Yeah.
for that matter, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Because if I'm paying for the depreciation of his computers and your computers, then I'm subsidizing both of you, and that means it's welfare.
But I think that's good. But your earlier point of investing in the citizens of this country,
Right.
having the government invest in the people, is really important and very underrated as a campaign point.
But no one likes to talk about the worker.
No.
God knows. Hey, we got Tim from Chicago. Tim, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so I've been a union worker since I was 18 years old. I'm 31 now. I work for a utility now. And I'm a big Bernie supporter, but I live up near the border in Illinois, near Wisconsin. So a lot of my family, a lot of our union workers are going to vote Trump. I know that for a fact because I deal with it every day. And they look at me like I am a dirty word for being a liberal, you know. So if Hillary gets in, I have a hard time voting for her. And I hate saying that, but I do, because I grew up under Clinton. I grew up under Bush, Reagan. I can't see, if Bernie doesn't get in, I'd rather try to reset everything.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you this.
Trump gets in and burns the place down. I mean, I don't know.
I don't believe in burning things down. So let me ask you this question: If Bernie doesn't eke out the nomination, do you care about the Supreme Court of the United States?
Yeah,
Okay, well then you don't want Donald Trump.
Powerful.
Then you don't want Donald Trump.
Powerful.
You don't want Donald Trump.
Are you saying that if Bernie Sanders doesn't get the nomination, you're going to vote for Donald Trump?
I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard not to.
Oh, man.
All right. I mean, again,
that's a really, really bad idea, Tim.
Well, look, I mean, listen, but the good news is you have your First Amendment right to say that, and I respect that. But I just want to cautiously urge you to think about this. The President of the United States has no more solemn duty, no matter who he or she is, than to nominate judges to the bench. I actually don't give a damn what else the president does. I really don't. All right, fine. Do your foreign policy thing, blah, 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 whatever. Just make sure we're safe. And that's all I care about. But the only thing that any president actually does that's actually worth my time is nominate judges to the bench, and most specifically to the Supreme Court. If in fact a Donald Trump or a Ted Cruz, can you imagine, or a Marco Rubio gets into the White House, you can kiss interesting, neat things goodbye, like marriage equality, like a woman's right to privacy. I mean, in fact, any kind of right to privacy for that matter. So these things matter. I want you to think hard, long and hard. And I want you to go back and listen to that clip that we just played of Joe Scarborough talking about, trickle down and how it doesn't work. That's a Republican saying that. That's a Republican. Play that clip for your family members up, the border of Wisconsin and Illinois, because I think that kind of stuff matters. When Republicans admit that trickle-down economics don't work, then they shouldn't vote Republican. I'm just saying. But thanks for calling. I appreciate that. Look, this is the kind of stuff that's disheartening to me. I think Bernie Sanders was a great House member. I think Bernie Sanders has been a daggone good senator. And you know what? I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. And if Hillary Clinton doesn't win the nomination, I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's how that's how it goes for me.
That's how it should go.
That's how it should go.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, I'm not going to put a Republican in the White House until the Republican Party gets out of my damn bedroom and out of my personal life, and that's a fact of life. And you should think the same exact way. Folks, we'll be back in just a minute. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back at 6:45 with David Jackson from the USA Today.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
If Ronald Reagan were alive today, seeking the nomination, he could no more get the nomination of the Republican Party than I could get the nomination. No, I'm not joking. And so what you see is this movement to the extreme in the Republican Party.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And that was the vice president from Dubai yesterday talking about Ronald Reagan, the late Ronald Reagan. And it's an interesting thing because the vice president is on a trip to the Middle East, and I honestly think he's right. Ronald Reagan raised taxes 11 times. I mean, my goodness, can you imagine if he'd raised them once these days? I mean, they would have, tarred and feathered him, for goodness sakes. Hey, on the phone with us today is USA Today's David Jackson. Good morning, David.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Oh, can't complain. Late night, but we got through it.
Well, you know what? I had a late night, too. I was in bed at 10 o'clock, and I didn't know what happened in Michigan, but I knew that I'd find out waking up. That's for daggum sure.
The good thing about doing morning radio is we got to see the Hawaii things come in as we were waking up. We didn't have to wait for Hawaii.
We own Hawaii, right?
There you go. 2:36 it was called, according to AP. I just was looking there. So,
2:36.
Actually, I was a little surprised. I thought it might be like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Well, I got to tell you, these crazy states. You can follow David on Twitter at DJUSA Today, and of course you can find USA Today at usatoday.com or go and buy it on your local newsstand. Yeah. Hey, David, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hey, let's talk about the vice presidents in the Middle East. The Middle East is a very interesting topic right now. You're the White House correspondent for USA Today. Apparently, there seems to be more bad blood between Israel and the United States. You want to talk about that for a second?
Well, Benjamin Netanyahu and President Obama were supposed to meet this month in connection with the APEC meeting here in Washington, but something went wrong. Of course,
Something went wrong.
Yeah, so it depends on which side you talk to. The Israelis said that President Obama made it hard to schedule a meeting, and vice versa. So, but for whatever reason, Netanyahu and Obama aren't meeting this month. So, yeah, more friction.
But didn't Netanyahu's office tell the press before they told the White House?
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's always the case.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
No, I mean the White House almost always learns of what Netanyahu's doing by reading news reports. That's I mean, in some ways the communication is not that's at the leader level. I should point out. I think in terms of law enforcement cooperation, down below the radar, I think the U.S.-Israeli cooperation is as good as it's ever been. But at the top, we got nothing.
Well, here's the deal. The deal is if you show up late for your date or you don't call at all, and then I just would stop dating you. that's how I see foreign diplomacy as foreign relations as dating. If you smack during the meal on the date, I'm not going to invite you back to a state dinner. I mean, that's just how I see it.
Well, I'm not sure those two will ever meet again. I mean, I'm sure that if they could avoid it, they will. I think the only way we will see a meeting of the Israeli and U.S. leaders again is if it's an emergency type of situation.
I was in Israel a couple of Aprils ago, and when I was there, Obama was president, obviously, and I just could not believe the vitriol towards Obama. I mean, it was astonishing. And I kept thinking, why? And I said to them, why do you hate Barack Obama so much? And they said, well, when he did his speech in Egypt, he didn't say he loved Israel. I'm like, hold on, really? That's you're pissed off because the president of the United States didn't say he loved Israel while he was in Egypt? This is before, I mean, I'm like, okay, I don't understand this, but you know what? I don't have to understand it. It's what it is. All right. So, by the way, we still have a sitting president, David. He's actually
right.
He matters, I think.
He tries to stay active and stays in the
He's
news.
doing things. What is the president up to these days?
It's just that, trying to stay in the news, getting ready to go to Cuba. He's as you mentioned, he's still fighting with Israel. But right now, I think the Cuba trip is the big thing, trying to keep the Iran deal on track. That's what I think he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And basically stay in the news. I think he's also kind of concerned about the Democratic primaries. I think he'd like to go in and endorse Hillary Clinton, but she keeps losing key primaries. So.
But she keeps winning all these super delegates. I mean, for example, Michigan last night, Sanders 49.9, Clinton 48.2. He won 65 delegates. She won 68 because of the super delegates.
Right.
I mean, by the way, if there's anybody knows anything about this, that'd be Barack Obama.
Yeah. Right.
In 2008, this is the guy that was racking up the super delegates left and right. I mean, that's how this works. He knows it. Do you think listen? What are your? I mean, listen, you're a straight beat reporter, but what do you think? I mean, do you think the White House is itching for this primary to be over on the Democratic side?
Yes. Yeah, I think the president would like to go in and endorse Clinton, but after last night, that's going to be a little more difficult because of her loss to Michigan. I mean, as you mentioned, she's got a huge lead because of the super delegates. I think she's definitely the odds-on favorite for the nomination, but I think the president's going to hold off on an endorsement for at least another couple of weeks, if not months.
Do you think? All right, let me ask you this: if Sanders doesn't pull out before the convention in late July, I mean, but Hillary Clinton's got the delegates locked up. Do you think he then not endorses?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, in that situation, I would think he would go ahead and endorse.
Wow, well, that would be a big blow to Bernie and to his people.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're dying to keep him out, but I think in that case, if she has it locked up and he's still out there campaigning, it wouldn't shock me if he decided to go ahead and weigh in.
Well, this
he certainly doesn't want a divisive convention. I know that.
And you know what, David? When you're the president of the United States, you can weigh in. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Hey, folks, follow David at DJ USA Today. And David, thank you very much for coming on. Please keep covering the White House. They are still relevant.
Thanks, sir.
All right, man. And we'll be right back, guys.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of Buyer's signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
But sadly, Bill is in Chicago gearing up for a big book signing tonight. And you can go to that book signing. Where's the book signing tonight, guys?
It's in Glenview at the Book Haven, I believe it is, on Navy Boulevard.
All right, so that's in Glenview, Illinois, and it's the book is Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. And you should go to that because that's going to be a great book signing in Glenview.
The book market.
At the book market in Glenview, Illinois. I don't know where that is. I assume that's a Chicago suburb.
On Navy Boulevard, just outside of Chicago.
There you go. It is a Chicago suburb.
6:30 tonight.
6:30 tonight, and then tomorrow morning, obviously, he'll be shooting live, taping live out of Chicago, and then he'll come back to D.C., where we'll just glide into the weekend.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of gliding, we're going to glide into the 7 o'clock hour, the second hour. We're going to have Matt Vassiligambros join us from the Atlantic. So join us in just a little bit, and we'll see you on the far side.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of Buyer's signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
Calls me googly eyes.
And you know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you're beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
You taught him how to hit a baseball.
Just like that. Say hi!
How to hit a receiver. The strike zone. The net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
And I'm Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press. Good morning, America. Good morning. Let's see, who we got? We got Jamie's in the control room.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we got Peter sitting over here across from me, Lily with the breathing distance.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, good morning.
Both of us are decked out in denim shirts today.
I was in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Down for the primaries, covering the primaries. I walked into Nordstrom Rack and I bought 3 denim shirts. And literally the woman looked at me and she goes, "Do you have a thing for denim?" I'm like, "Nope." But I now own 3 brand new denim shirts. Just so you know.
Congratulations.
Yes, because that's really the most useless news you'll ever have.
I love a denim shirt.
I apparently love them too. I have 3 new ones.
You
Yes.
had no idea.
Ray is screening our calls and Monty's on video this morning. We got a big show this morning coming up. We got a staff correspondent from the Atlantic, Matt Vasiligambros, coming on a little bit. And then the 8 o'clock hour, we've got Emily Kahn from Mashable coming on. But before all of that...
This is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news. You know, the Hollywood directing team of they came on the scene as the Wachowski brothers. They directed The Matrix. One of the brothers became Lana Wachowski. He was transgendered and became a woman. Lana Wachowski.
That explains a lot about the dress, the costuming for The Matrix.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Well, this is an interesting story, right? Because they continue to go on and direct movies as the Wachowski team.
Mm-hmm.
They were no longer the Wachowski brothers. Well, the other Wachowski brother is now Lily Wachowski. She was also transgender, became Lily Wachowski. This is something that's sort of been a slow rumor that's been on the back burner for some time, and she came out and said, "I am trans." Published a piece in the Daily Mail, put out a statement about the whole thing, and so now they are the Wachowski sisters.
Well, I hope they do a lot better than Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
What a week for Caitlyn Jenner.
Look, I think that we have reached true equality when we can recognize the bravery of transgender issues, or the bravery of Caitlyn Jenner on the transgender issue, and also say that she is insane for supporting Ted Cruz.
She's psychotic.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, it really bothers me.
I mean, if you live with the Kardashians, would you be psychotic too?
Look at Kanye.
Well, look at poor Kanye.
Yeah, right?
I mean, today when you feel sorry for Kanye. What else we got, brother?
We talked yesterday about how Maria Sharapova from the tennis world. Yeah, she was using this drug. Well, this I find kind of amazing because some of her sponsors are just completely abandoning her. They're getting off of the Sharapova train, including Nike. Now, what's fascinating to me is Nike is notorious about sticking with their athletes during scandals.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah, right. They stuck with Tiger Woods that whole time.
Yep.
But because of this, they have distanced themselves from Maria Sharapova. So has Tag Heuer and Porsche. They both suspended their relationships with Maria Sharapova after she announced that she failed a drug test for meldonium at the Australian Open.
Apparently, this meldonium stuff is legal over the counter in Russia.
Yeah, so here's the deal.
Everything legal over the counter in Russia?
Yeah, look.
Not Russian hookers.
Here's the deal, though. I didn't know anything about this meldonium, although I'd love to score some.
Apparently, it makes you breathe well.
It makes you breathe really, really well.
I need some meldonium.
And she said that she was taking it for a magnesium deficiency.
Well, then why did she take milk of magnesium?
Right, when you just take magnesium, if that's what you're
Right.
deficient. But she took it for like 10 years, she said. But most experts say, look, if you've got a magnesium deficiency, you really only need to take this meldonium for about 4 to 5 months. That's all you need. And she took it for 10 years.
10 years. How many Grand Slams did she win? Not many.
Not many. Yeah, I don't know.
Not worth it.
I think meldonium's way overrated.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've had a lot of great trips. I haven't had a meldonium trip.
A meldonium trip, which is,
Let's
by the
do
way,
it.
not the same as Maldon sea salt. Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different. Yes.
Google Trends it's a website called Home Snacks, used Google Trends to make a map of what states are streaming what content, right? So, like if you're watching videos on Netflix, HBO Now, Showtime, Hulu, whatever, who's watching what? Let's just sort of look around the map here. In Oregon, Portland, Oregon, you think they're watching Portlandia.
Okay.
That's the most streamed show in Oregon.
What about Mississippi?
Mississippi is Bloodline. Do you know about Bloodline?
No.
I don't know what Bloodline is.
I don't know what that is.
But right next door in Louisiana, they're watching True Blood. Makes sense,
Some
right?
blood in the water down in the deep, deep south.
It's set there. Texas is streaming Narcos. New Mexico, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. South Carolina, Wentworth. Do you know what Wentworth is, Jamie? Or Jimmy?
Nope.
I don't know what it is.
It's a street in Charleston, but that's all I know.
It's a fine street.
Give me Maine.
Maine is Game of Thrones.
That explains a lot.
Game of Thrones.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
No.
So, there you go. New York is Mad Men. Pennsylvania is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. New Jersey is Boardwalk Empire.
What about Florida?
Florida is the Grand Hotel. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
One of the most interesting ones, I think, because it's so old and it's one thing that you don't ever think about when you think of streaming. Alaska, they're streaming Star Trek. Like, is that hilarious or what?
I can see Jupiter from my back door.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
Well, not to stereotype the states, but yeah, stereo stating. That's what we're doing.
This map sort of follows a lot of stereotypes.
I love it. So we've got Brian from DeKalb, Illinois. Brian, are you on the phone, my friend?
Yes, hello, good morning. I heard earlier you guys were talking to a pipe fitter there. I was bringing up the conversation. First off, I'm a Democrat. I've been a proud union iron worker for the last 19 years. Talked to a lot of guys in the trade. I talked to my father a lot. That's a retired union Boilermaker. And when it comes down to the situation with putting Hillary Clinton in just because she's got a D behind her name, I understand the situation with the Supreme Court, but there's a lot of guys out in the trades, and I'm telling you, in the working field, that if they see her in there and all the stuff that she backs with Wall Street and what her husband's done to the working world out here, they're not going to vote unless it's Bernie Sanders. And like I said, they don't understand the situation with the Supreme Court. They're just going to be the hell with it. I'm voting for Trump. I ain't seeing her in office. And telling you, it's God honest truth. That's the way it is out here in the working world.
Well, then you might want to explain to them what Friedrichs is. And we can help you. We are happy to help. We'll listen. I'm happy to come back and do 3 hours purely on the Friedrichs decision and what's going to happen at the Supreme Court. Because here's the bottom line: listen up, Labor America. The Supreme Court of the United States is probably going to rule that labor unions don't get to collect money from non-members.
Yeah,
that's a fact of life. And when that happens, the bargaining power of a labor union gets diminished by 90%. And here's something else that people should remember. Back during Citizens United, the AFL-CIO wrote an amicus brief to the Supreme Court in favor of Citizens United. Because for some strange-ass reason, big labor thought that they could compete with big money and big corporations when it came to the issue of money being speech. Well, guess what? I think we found out something very interesting. Big corporations don't actually care about labor unions. They don't. They care about spending the money the way they want to spend it. And now this is going to happen. So here's the deal. If you want to be able to protect your ability to organize, to have a decent living wage, et cetera, then you might want to think about who you're voting for in the ballot box. Because if you don't, then you're going to have a Donald Trump who's going to nominate someone who is anti-labor. That's a fact of life. And guess who else is going to do that? Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. They're going to do that. So, I mean, I hate to break the news to our friends and our loved ones in labor out there, but if you think voting for Donald Trump is a good thing for you to do because you want to burn the house down, guess whose house you're burning down? Your house. You're burning your house down. Your union house is burning down if you vote for Donald Trump or Ted Cruz or, for that matter, Marco Rubio. That's a fact of life. Bill from Chicago. And I'm pissed about this because this is the kind of stuff that sends me over the edge. Bill from Chicago.
Yes, hi. I'm on the exact same page as the caller before, and I'm very educated on the issues. I head up a local union's political action committee, and, when you talk about, the Supreme Court decisions and what's going to happen if, we don't vote for Hillary if she's the nominee, you are functioning on a basis of fear. You are functioning on the status.
Fear?
Yes, you are basis.
Do you think Donald Trump is running a campaign on fear, my friend? Ted Cruz is running a campaign. Well, hang on. No. You're the caller. Here's how this works. Ted Cruz and the Republican nominees are running a campaign on fear. They're trying to scare the living hell out of working class people all across America, and it's working. And you're telling me that if Bernie Sanders doesn't get the nomination, Bernie Sanders, who I love, by the way, you're telling me that if he doesn't get the nomination and Hillary Clinton does, you guys are going to support a Republican who thinks that your right to work is crazy? Seriously?
Myself personally, okay, I was laid off for over a year. I almost lost my home. Job security still has not returned to me, okay? I went through that struggle, okay? I know exactly what it is. And I feel that a majority of America, and this is my opinion and I'm entitled to it, okay? I feel that a majority of America, they didn't feel that same real deep-rooted, hardship, that pushed them to that left. And you know what? If Donald Trump does get in there, he is going to go, the country, to me, will go to the left. Hillary's going to get in, and we're just going to continue to get by. We're not going to thrive. That's my take on it. And, people like Bill Press and Tom Hartman, they built my mind. They built it.
What do you mean when you say the country's going to go on and not thrive? Have you not seen
do you remember
economy?
the surpluses of the Clinton years? Do you remember those? I remember those.
I do. I remember.
Okay, well then, look. I get it on trade. I totally understand where you're coming from. I actually worked in the Senate. I did trade bills. I understand, Bill, and I worked for Dick Durbin, your senior senator. I totally, completely, 1,000,000,000% know exactly where you're coming from. But do you actually think, and do people around you think, that voting for Donald Trump, he's going to go left? Are you serious?
Number one, I would never vote for Donald Trump, okay? All I'm saying is the base, to me, is not going to be motivated to vote for Clinton, and the Democratic Party is going to lose.
Then guess what? Then you're going to have a Donald Trump or a Ted Cruz. I said 3 months ago on this show that Ted Cruz is going to get the nomination. By the way, I'm sticking by the fact that I still think Ted Cruz gets the nomination. And Bill, I really did say that 3 months ago. And people were like, Jimmy, are you smoking pot at 6 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, no, but at 9 o'clock I might. But here's the deal, Bill. I'm serious. I still think Ted Cruz gets it. There's not a single part of Ted Cruz, or Marco Rubio for that matter, that's pro-labor. Not one damn part. And if people out there listening want to vote for a Donald Trump or a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio, if you think that your ability to walk into a labor shop and have that be secure, you have lost your mind. You have look, you don't have to like Hillary Clinton. That's fine. You don't have to like her. But if you vote against her and you vote for a Republican, then don't blame anybody else for the demise of your own household. Please. And by the way, you can say that's fear-mongering. Well, guess what? It's about time for Democrats to actually start pony up and start campaigning like Republicans, because I'm sick and tired of Democrats campaigning like Democrats. This is ridiculous. Jim from Las Vegas is on the phone.
Hey, fellas. This is a response to Tim from Wisconsin, the union guy. The Trump Towers here in Las Vegas, like other cities around the country, It was built with federal subsidies, state subsidies, and now the workers there want to go union. 962 people that clean the rooms and the bartenders, they're making minimum wage, $8.25 an hour. So they can't afford to pay their bills. So they're getting welfare and food stamps because they're not getting paid enough. Every single thing in that building is made in China, from everything in the gift shop, every tie, every little knick-knack he sells in there, every piece of furniture, every bed, every couch is made in China. He's been charged with using illegal aliens from Mexico to build it. He's been cited for that several times, which he's always talking about. And how can these union workers possibly think that he's going to change?
How many of your colleagues, how many of your friends out there are going to vote for Donald Trump?
A few of them, and I'm sick of it. And when Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are out here campaigning, Hillary got out of the limousine and marched in front of that building for the union workers, as well as Bernie did. So against Donald Trump, and he won't even allow them the right to vote to let the union in, the yes or no vote to let them in. Meanwhile, he's getting federal subsidies by depreciation. The building's 9 years old. It was built by licensed pipe fitters and steel workers. The value has gone up millions of dollars, and every year Donald Trump uses the tax code and depreciates the building so he doesn't have to pay any taxes on a $31 million building. It's ridiculous.
Welcome to corporate America, my friend. Hey, listen, I appreciate what you're saying. Have more conversations with your brethren out there in the labor world. I think that's important. Thank you, Jim. Listen, Peter, this is the kind of stuff that just sends me, it makes me want to pull what's left of my hair out, and I have none left.
Yeah, it's really infuriating to hear people talk like that.
Look, you don't have to fall in love with your candidate. There were plenty of people who didn't fall in love with Barack Obama.
Yeah. You remember that whole thing? The Puma party, right? Party Unity, my ass.
Somebody has written a book called Buyer's Remorse, right? His name is Bill Press. How Obama let progressives down. Yeah, the guy's sitting at 51% approval rating in the country. By the way, that includes Republicans.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. No politician is perfect. They're never going to be perfect. Hillary Clinton's not perfect. Bernie Sanders is not perfect. But they sure are a hell of a lot better than the assholes on the other side, okay? It's a simple fact of life. And by the way, Donald Trump isn't a politician. He's a fraudster. He's Bernie Madoff. That's what he is.
Yeah.
So, we're going to keep going on this because I'm not going to let people run around and say, Sanders doesn't get it, I'm voting for Donald Trump. No, you're not. No, you're not. We'll be back in a minute.
Your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election. This is The Bill Press Show.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor. But with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. How could you not? You start the day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about. We talk about the commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independence depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep free speech TV going. So now's the time for the spring pledge drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can. is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And I'm Jimmy Williams, apparently in a bad mood this morning, sitting in for Bill Press. Poor Bill. He's like, don't let Jimmy do this anymore, for goodness sakes. He's screaming at our own people. Anyway, I'm here this morning.
We'll always have you in.
Well, you guys are the best. And listen, I tell you why I care. I care because I care about the American worker. And I care about the American workers. Without American workers, corporations don't exist. This is a fact of life. And by the way, without good-paying corporations, workers don't have jobs. But it's their duty to do right by their people, and it's our duty as workers, our duty to make sure that we fight for a good living wage. And if we have politicians that don't support that, especially on the Republican side, we should hold them accountable. But just because you don't like a Democrat who supports you 93% of the time, 7% they don't. Do you think a Republican's going to actually put in Supreme Court nominees that actually support your right to organize? No, they're not.
We said the same thing about Hillary Clinton supporters as we saw that she was losing to Barack Obama in 2008.
Yep.
There was the whole, we talked about this, the Puma party, the party unity, my ass.
Yep.
And, the people who will vote against their best interest, those are called Republicans, right? So if you're supporting one candidate and you're going to have a hissy fit and just not vote or vote for Donald Trump because the person you picked didn't win, you should rethink your life.
Go vote for Donald Trump. See how that turns out for you in the next 5 or 6 years. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
QL1.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor. But with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. How could you not? You get Start the Day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about. We talk about the commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independent depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep free speech TV going. So now's the time for the spring pledge drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
And this is Jimmy Williams lightly standing in for Bill Press this morning. Let's take a call real quick from Jim from Chicago. Jim, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
It's a bright and early, fiery Wednesday morning at 7:30 here, Eastern Standard Time.
I hear you. I'll keep it short for you guys, but what you're doing, yelling at these union guys, you're all over it. This needs to be done. I've been a union pipe fitter in this area my entire life.
Another loyal pipe fitter, thank God.
And I'm telling you, these guys, they're going to vote for Trump. They got this thing with Hillary. You've heard it, obviously, from the caller before, who's been laid off for a year.
Yeah.
And they forget that he's laid off for a year because of Republican policies. I watch it every day. I'm a union teacher. I watch it happen here every day. They will vote for Trump. They will vote for Cruz. And I tell them, you're going to lose your pension. You're going to lose it all. They don't care. There needs to be a labor show done with you on it, because you're obviously passionate about this. That needs to be done between the hours of 5:15 and 6:30, because that's when all these guys are driving to work. And you need to tell them, because it's just none of these radio shows, I know you support it, but no one gets into the labor aspect of it. And all these guys are going to vote for it. I watch it. I'm fighting it every day, but I can't. I'm not doing a very good job.
Well, keep fighting the good fight. And listen, Jim, look, here's the deal. Yeah. Look, I have a bully pulpit. I'm lucky to have this. You don't, but you're on the ground. And the bottom line is that if you want to be able to organize, if you want to be able to keep your job and your pension and your paycheck and argue for a better paycheck, then the bottom line is if you want someone to support those things for you, you have to vote for somebody that's a Democrat. Find me a pro-labor Republican in the United States Senate today. Find me one. I'd like to see one. Find me one. Find me a pro-labor Republican in the House of Representatives. I'd like to see one. I don't know that there one. Find me a Northeastern Republican who's pro-labor and is okay with your ability to organize. I'd like to find one. The Republican Party is a shell of itself. They're gone. It's dead. It's been taken over by crazy people. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the bottom line is this. If you think for a millisecond that Donald Trump is going to support your ability to organize, then you have absolutely no idea what you're doing and who you're voting for. Where on his website does it say he's for the right to organize? Where on Donald Trump's website does it say he's for a minimum wage? Where on Ted Cruz's website does it say that? It doesn't, because they're against it. And either you're for me or you're against me. Fact of life. That's a fact of life. So keep teaching. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that. In the studio with me now is my good friend Matt Vasilagambras, who is a reporter for The Atlantic. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Let's take some higher ground, and we're going to talk about, speaking of, your latest article, which is reporting taking the higher ground and developing it. This is a very interesting thing. You were down in Miami. Tell me what the hell's going on down in Miami. And again, they got nothing to do with Marco Rubio being short or tall.
Well, I was going to say, let's talk about things being delusional. Okay, so
I love delusion.
Little Marco.
Little Marco. Yeah. Big ears.
Well, as we know.
You know what they say about guys with big ears? You can't trust them.
You can't trust them.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I learned that in middle school.
I dumped a guy because he had big ears once.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Did you really?
Couldn't trust him. Actually, never mind. All right, Matt, let's talk about your reporting. This is good stuff.
Let's talk about important things, guys.
Okay?
No.
Hey,
bring this conversation
that was
up
important because he was hot.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to hear about this.
No,
All right.
you don't want to hear about it.
Really don't.
Yeah.
All right, so I was down in Miami, and as we know, Miami, being right on the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
is facing a severe problem with climate change, right?
Yes.
Sea level is rising an inch a year. That means that before this century, it will rise 6 feet, and that is devastating. So we think about other coastal cities like New York, they could build a seawall because they're built on a different kind of rock.
That's right.
Miami's built on porous limestone. When the water comes, and it's coming, it will come from underneath the city. It will subsume people's yards, and it will be in the streets, and it won't be a storm. It will be sunny outside and be flooding.
Like in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
When it's a full moon and a high tide.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where the streets flood.
King tide, the
Right.
streets will flood in Miami, and it's going to go inland. At any rate, so there's $10 billion of development right now on the ocean. But other developers are thinking ahead because they see that high ground in Miami is going to be the most valuable piece of property. But guess who lives on high ground in Miami?
Let me guess. Poor people.
Yes, a neighborhood called Little Haiti, which has been the place where poor Haitians fleeing political strife have gone to. And they didn't, before sea level was even a thing, they went to the poorest part of Miami, which happens to be 11 feet above sea level.
That's pretty high.
Yeah,
down there.
Miami
Yeah.
Beach is 3 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Coral Gables, a very rich neighborhood, is
Right.
6 feet.
Right.
So if we're talking about that, that means that the high ground is going to be the most valuable one. So developers are buying up high ground, and with everything that we've ever heard about new urbanization, they are forcing these people out of their homes.
Where are they going?
Well, here's the thing. They're going to the next affordable locations, which is just outside of Miami in a place called Homestead and Florida City, and those are below sea level.
Oh, geez.
So that is the biggest, the biggest irony of this whole thing, right? So
Holy cow.
folks who live on high ground are being forced from their homes and being placed below sea level. And so,
because Haiti was just so nice anyway.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So these
they
people
come here, and then basically the developers, just pull the same thing.
Right. They found their lives in Miami, and Miami is this great place for, refugees and economic immigrants to come from South America or the Caribbean. And they thought they found something, and now they're facing a new reality, which is developers buying left and right, and they're going to, force some people out. So I was just there, and I was talking to these people in these folks in a trailer park home, about 100 homes there, and it's being evicted. It was bought up. It's like 13 acres, bought up by some Chinese shell company, and they're not being offered any money to vacate. A lot of them own the trailer homes.
But they don't own the land. Exactly.
And the trailer homes aren't mobile because they were installed in the 40s. So basically, the years of investment, thousands of dollars that they've invested in their homes, they can't even take advantage of that, and they're being forced out. So I think, we talk about sea level rise. I don't think people understand the severity of sea level rise there. I mean, and I just say 6 feet, and, that doesn't mean much to people, but that will consume Little Havana. That will consume downtown Miami, all of Miami Beach. If you've ever been on a vacation there, it will consume it. And if we're talking about Marco Rubio, he is one of the many senators who doesn't believe in this.
This is, to me, what's so hard to grasp with this issue, right? Is like he represents that area. He's there. He sees it. And he's still so he's got such a problem with embracing.
That's the problem.
But why is that? Why doesn't he see it?
I would love for him to go to Lemon City and see what this looks like.
Right, and here's why he doesn't see it. It's the same reason why the officials in the city don't see it. I mean, I quote the city's building director, and he tells me, we need to be sure about the science before we do anything. We need to be sure about the science, because what they're talking about are billions of dollars of development. And who do you think is paying for these campaigns, right? It is the developers, right? So that's the only reason why you're not going to see any sort of change in the next however many years is because they don't see it just yet. Yeah, the street might be flooded a couple times a year, but it's not part of their lives. But in 20 years, it's going to be very much part of their lives. Yeah. And all of that investment's going to go out the window. But they just don't care about it right now. It's just not politically expedient.
So they're just going to move all these people out.
Yeah, they're going to buy.
They're going to build massive high rises.
Yep.
They're going to have fabulous views of downtown Miami and the Bay, and then it's just But then these people, I mean, I this is what I don't get. Look, this idea of gentrification, I get it to a degree, but when I was home in South Carolina. About a month ago, I asked Joe Riley, the former mayor of Charleston, who's just retired after 40 years, about the gentrification of downtown Charleston. And what's interesting is that I said, look, it used to be, Mayor Riley, that, black Charleston and white Charleston, very segregated.
Yeah.
That's changing to a large degree, not below Calhoun Street, but for the most part above Calhoun Street, it is changing, and blacks and whites living together. But the black Charlestonians are being pushed out. And what's interesting is that he said one of the things that he put in place was an affordable housing program that's eternal, if you will, where 40% of all new development downtown in Charleston has to be for affordable housing.
Right.
Now that's smart. That's smart urban planning, if you will. Is that happening here?
No, and actually that trailer park that I mentioned is one of the few remaining low-income, non-subsidized housing in Miami. And so basically you're kind of getting rid of that to develop it into ridiculous apartment buildings. And for people who have been to Miami, which I recommend, it's an incredible city, but it is gentrifying fast. And there are warehouse districts in the city that are being bought up, and apartments there are just too expensive to live. So already in Miami, you see all these
6 years ago.
Right.
Condo prices in Miami were in the tank.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I knew people that were going down there and just buying them just to have rental properties because you could get a 2-bedroom condo for like $100,000 or something ridiculous. I mean, you had to pump some money into it, right? But I mean, so that's all turned.
Florida is a boom and bust economy, and right now we're in boom, and so they're buying up everything. Housing prices are going super up. You can't afford to live any place in Miami except for these low-income, sometimes Haitian communities.
Yeah.
Okay. So then those are going to get all bought up. And guess what's going to happen? There's going to be another bust because the water's going to come. and all of that development is going to be for naught, which is just, I'm smiling. I mean, it's tragic when you think about it and you look at, I embedded a map in my story, and Florida International University showed what parts of the city will be subsumed with any incremental level of water. It makes you sick.
Yeah.
When you look at the parts of that city that are going to be gone, the airport's gone. Homestead and Florida City are gone. Miami Beach and downtown Brickell, it's all gone. I mean, it is scary to think about, and they can't do anything about it. I told you, there's no walls.
You can't screw with water.
No.
Water's water.
It is coming.
It's water. Hey, Matt, thanks. You're sticking around, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break real quick, and we'll be back with Matt from Gumbers, and maybe take a call or two. We'll be right back, guys. Thank you.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV, because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
That's Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press. Good morning, everybody. It is 7:48 on the East Coast. I don't know what time it is on the West Coast, but that's okay because they're probably still asleep.
Yeah.
I would be.
Well, we do get a lot of calls at this hour from the West Coast. We always wonder whether or not they're thinkers or drinkers. Or one or the other.
Or thrinkers.
Thrinkers.
They're thrinkers. They're
That's my sweet
thinking
spot
and
right
drinking.
there.
That's what
I just made up
There's
a
not
new
many of those,
word.
Jimmy.
I just made up a new word.
Thrinkers.
Thrinkers. You should use that from time to time, by the way.
I like that.
So this guy on Twitter, his name is Stuart Reed, and he's saying to me, let's see, refusing to vote lesser evil isn't a vote for GOP, it's a vote for movement building. We're done with corporate Dems. And what do you say? Here it is. Ridiculous that you're a whip for Hillary. I'm not a whip for Hillary. I'm not a whip for Hillary. I'm not a whip for Hillary. I'm a whip for Democrats who support your right to work. The AM calling after Sanders' big win. Yeah, Sanders did win. He won 49.9%. She won 48.2%. Was she supposed to win big? Yes, she was. Apparently, I'm not. Thank God I'm not a pollster. But I will say this. He won. In the Kentucky Derby, the horse's nose that goes through first wins. Bernie Sanders won, and I'm happy he won. I'm okay with the fact that he won. But don't tell me I'm a shill for Hillary. Am I going to vote for Hillary? Yeah, I am. If Hillary doesn't get the nomination, I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. How about you? Yeah. Don't piss me off on a day like today. It's ridiculous. Still with us is my good friend Matt Vasiligambros from The Atlantic. Look, I want people to think back to 2000. I want people to think back to 2000. Remember that? That was 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. 16 long years ago. George W. Bush, the compassionate conservative from a right-to-work state, runs against Al Gore. What happened? He lost. George Bush won. And I'm just wondering, all these people that sit around and have a conversation and want to scream and whine and moan and bitch and complain about the downturn and economic recession, et cetera, who was president when all that happened? George W. Bush. How many people lost their pensions? How many people lost their 401ks? How many people lost their homes? George W. Bush, a Republican. Donald Trump, he's not running as a Democrat. He's a Republican. Ted Cruz, a Republican. Marco Rubio, a Republican. Go vote Republican. See how that works out for you.
Good luck.
That's happy. That's happy. Listen, when I was a kid, my grandmother used to make me take my medicine, and sometimes it tasted good, and sometimes it tasted like crap, and it sucked. But I had to take my medicine, man. I had to go get those allergy shots, and I didn't like getting those allergy shots because it hurt when they stuck that needle in. But daggum if that needle didn't make sure that I didn't, I could play with my pet Fuzzy, right? Right?
I'm glad you were going to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's right, me too. But, or my kitty Spotty. But the bottom line is the bad medicine sucks to hear it. It sucks to take it sometimes. But here's the deal, America. If you go out and you're a member of a labor union and you vote for a Republican, that is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. If you're a gay Republican and you vote for a Republican, really? Seriously? I don't think voters are monolithic. I just expect you to actually have some decent, brain stem cells going on here. You can't vote for somebody that thinks you're a second-class citizen. You can't tell me that it's okay to vote for somebody who's going to make America strong again. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make America strong again. Good reporting makes America strong again. What Matt's talking about in these columns he writes for The Atlantic, that's good stuff. He's exposing corporate greed. That's a Democrat saying corporate greed. Shocking, I know. Keep this kind of reporting up. I think it's important. What are you working on these days? What's next? What's coming from Matt?
Well, I was just in Miami, so I have 4 more stories coming down the line. So Obama is going to Cuba next month.
Oh,
Cuba, yes.
Or later this month, actually.
Yeah, it's this month, isn't it?
It's
He's
March.
going to a baseball game.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So, so as we all know, Cuban Americans are conservative because
the old ones are.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it's kind of it's a stereotype. We see Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and any Cuban in Washington. But anyways, I talked to real Cuban Americans and about their progressing opinions on the Cuba issue. And guess what? They're starting to come around to President Obama's way of thinking on this. And so I wanted to tell their stories and kind of expose some of the politics there. I hope you guys will have me on in a couple weeks when I write that story.
100%.
I think we will.
100%.
We will do that. So you can follow Matt on Twitter at MATTVAS. He's at Atlantic.com. Come back and let's hear about what's happening down in the Cuban American community.
You got it.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. We'll be back in just a minute.
your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, you can afford that for Free Speech TV. We'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And I'm Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press, who, by the way, folks, Bill's doing a book signing tonight at 6:30 in Glenview, Illinois. It is,
It's at the Book Market in Glenview. It's on Navy Boulevard at, like you said, 6 o'clock tonight. 6:30. Go there.
Well, you can show up at 6.
Yeah, sure.
But Bill, he's not going to start signing until 6:30. But, I mean, listen, hey, it's Glenview. I mean, I'm sure there's something else you can do, for God's sakes, right? It's on Navy Boulevard. If it's a boulevard, there's got to be a Starbucks nearby.
Yeah, sure.
Or a local coffee shop or something like that. Or maybe even a bar. But don't show up drunk, for goodness sakes. That's not helpful to Bill. So anyway, hey, go by and buy his books tonight, please, folks. I think it matters. And he's written a good book. It's called Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. And then you can catch him tomorrow morning from 6 to 9 Eastern Time from Chicago, and that should be a good show. He's going to pick up on my anger wrath from today, so we'll be back in just a minute.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC. or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My hero does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Wake you up.
All right, guys, I want to take the last part of the day to change our focus and talk a little bit about water. There's rivers, there's lakes, there's huge oceans. You get thirsty, you just go and you get some water, right? We rely on rain for our water. We even rely on snow. But what if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. I want you to tell your parents, your friends, your neighbors, how important it is to save water. It's up to you guys to save the planet. All right? What if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. It's up to you guys to save the planet.
Hi, I'm Mark LaFleur, and I produced the short film you just watched called Aquaforce. California is experiencing one of the worst droughts it's ever had, and now, more than ever, it's important for everyone to do their part to help conserve water. The reason I made this film is because I wanted to make something fun and informative that would get people talking about the California drought. Obviously, this is an important issue because we have a limited amount of clean drinking water. I think it was very important to let people know, especially young people, that this is an important resource, maybe our most important resource, and it's something that we can't take for granted and we certainly can't waste. I really wanted this to be something that children would respond to. The kind of thing that any kid anywhere in the world, no matter what language they speak, could understand the story and be entertained by it and leave it knowing that this is something important, that if they didn't already know about this, that it's now going to be a part of the way that they think about water, the way that they live life, and that it's something that they'll share with their friends. The fact that they watch this video once or twice and they immediately understand that water is important. That's it. That was the whole point of this thing, to get it into the conversation, to make it something that kids are thinking about, talking about, that they're aware of, and that they know is important. This project was self-funded, so we relied on the support of our community to make it happen. It was pretty amazing to just have our neighbors, our friends, and our coworkers come together and volunteer their time and their homes and their kids to make this thing happen. Thanks for checking out the video. Keep the Aquaforce going, and thanks for watching Free Speech TV.
Casting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
And I am Jimmy Williams in this morning for Bill Press, and good morning, America. Good morning, Peter.
Hey, Jimmy.
It is always a pleasure to smell you and see you. So up close and personal.
We're here. We're so close. You're like basking in my musk.
Musk by
well,
Fabergé.
You can
Brut by Fabergé.
You can smell me.
Remember that? Brut
yeah,
by
of
Fabergé?
Course I do. Yeah.
Brut by Fabergé.
Yeah.
That was good
it's
stuff.
a little. I'm wearing a little Ode de Doo-Dah Day.
Ode de Doo-Dah Day.
that I've got on today.
I'm not sure if we're slap happy drunk or just punch drunk. I'm not sure. Jamie's in the control room. We got all kinds of great folks in here. Ray's here. Monty's here. Super is sleeping somewhere. I have no idea where he is, but that's okay. and Bill's in Chicago. He's got a book signing tonight at 6:30. Out in Glenview, Illinois, on is it Navy Boulevard?
Navy Boulevard in Glenview, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. 6:30 p.m. this evening at the Book Market.
So
if
you're in the Chicago area, metro area, stop by tonight and go see him and buy his book.
We've been promoting this all day.
It's my job.
I just realized it's called the Book Market. Book Market. Just Book Market. I just got that. Did you get that earlier?
No, I'm just gonna.
I didn't get that earlier.
Bill just texted me, asked me to keep a close eye on the two of you. It's been a long morning.
Where's it gonna be?
No,
Book Market.
Did he really text us?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, he would never text Jamie.
Oh, thank goodness. That's good. He would text Peter, and Peter would be like, whatever, Bill. Whatever, Janet. Remember that commercial, whatever, Janet. Joining us right now is Ben Terrace. Ben is a political reporter with the Washington Post, and he's down in Florida. Ben, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
It's another day in paradise, my friend. It's a Wednesday here in America. It seems to me that you're down there covering the Trump campaign, and you uncovered something remarkably interesting. Tell me what's happening down in Florida, my friend.
Oh, remarkably interesting in what way? You mean with the Trump press conference?
The Trump press conference infomercial, basically, fake products and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't even uncover that. I just was there to watch it all happen. I mean, it didn't even have to be uncovered. It was presented for everybody to see.
Tell us more. Did he put up a fight? I want to know more.
Well, it was kind of incredible, I mean, big night, election night, and normally politicians like to have rallies and kind of, get everybody all excited if they've done well. And Trump, on the other hand, he's got a new tradition of holding press conferences in fancy ballrooms at resorts that he owns. And this time he wanted to show off a bunch of the products that Mitt Romney had dinged him for failing.
So tell us about some of these products. I want to hear. Give me an example.
So there were Trump steaks.
Wait, did you try any of the Trump steak?
Well, if I were to have tried them, I would have had to eat them raw because it was just a bunch of raw meat, like put out on a plate for everyone to take pictures of and see that it existed.
But where did it come from?
Well, it turned out it came from something called. Look, it had wrappers around it that said Bush Brothers, I believe.
George W. Bush and
that might have been
and Neil and Jeb.
Bush and Jeb and Neil.
It could have just been a fantastic, ironic pitch, or it could have been people forgot to take off the wrappers on steaks that maybe were not actually Trump steaks. Or look, maybe they were Trump steaks and they kept them in other wrappers. What do I know? I don't know anything about Trump steaks. But it was certainly not your typical, rally talking about, moving America forward so much as. It was 45 minutes, so some of it was that, but there was at least 5-10 minutes dedicated to here are a bunch of products that are pretty awesome that have my name on it.
But they didn't have his name on it.
Well, some of them had his name on it. Whether or not they are still in existence or what. Okay, so here's a good example, right? He was talking a lot about Trump water. And I got some Trump water from the bar. I was a responsible journalist. It was the first press conference I've ever been to that was catered and had an open bar. But I still went and just asked for a water, expecting a glass of water. And out came a little tiny water bottle that said Trump on it. And I was like, oh, Trump brand water. That's pretty fun. And somebody noticed that it was bottled by a company in Connecticut, I think Willington, Connecticut, that just does this. They bottle water and they'll put whatever name you want on it. If you want to have a booze-free bachelor party, you can make it say, Peter all over it probably.
So you can have Ben Terrace water.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have the money to get water bottles with my name on it, but I think it can be done.
So it's water. It's generic water with a label on it. It's steaks by a local butcher down in West Palm Beach. Anything else down there that he thought he needed to co-op and call his own?
Well, there was things that were probably his own, but weren't exactly what he claimed them to be. There was a Trump magazine existed at one point, and he wanted to prove that it still existed. But he held up another magazine that he owned. I think it was called, I don't know, something with the word "jewel" in it. And it's basically just brochures that he gives out at his resorts.
So if I walked up to the bodega in New York, I could not buy this Trump magazine.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No. I mean, it exists if you go to these resorts, I believe.
Right.
And look, I want to just make it clear, this was all pointed out by, I read about this after the fact on a Mashable article, which just went piece by piece and pointed it all out. When I was there, I didn't know, he's such a good pitch man that, you don't know exactly what's true and what's not. So it made for really entertaining, an entertaining evening.
I heard he brought out his wine, Trump wine.
Yeah, there's Trump wine. He offered it to the press, but said that the press would be too honest to take it.
Well, what's interesting is that's the old Klug winery in Charlottesville, Virginia. I've been there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and by the way, it's good wine. I hate to say this.
I know, and I also know how much reporters just hate free booze.
Yeah, we
not
do.
This reporter, not me. Ben. I'm not Ben. I'm not speaking for you. I mean,
no, I don't hate free booze either. But look, I didn't take any from Trump's event.
You didn't?
I'll tell you. No,
well, you know what we should do when you get back? We should just get a whole bunch of reporters, and we should literally drive down to Charlottesville and just do some wine hopping. It'd be fun. Dave Matthews has one. There's the Trump winery, which, by the way, the Trump champagne is actually it's not really champagne. It's sparkling wine.
Sure,
it's actually pretty good. I give it as gifts. I'm not joking. I'm totally not kidding.
Wow. I mean, how much did he pay you for this plug?
He didn't, but I mean, it's not that expensive, to be honest with you. And when you give someone a bottle of Trump champagne, they start laughing, and then they taste and they go, "This is not that bad." I'm like, "Well, you can thank Charles and Patricia Klug for this." But look, I mean, here's the deal. The deal is the guy's a fraud. I agree with Marco Rubio. He's a con man. He's a fraud. And here's the other thing I have to say about about Donald Trump. Donald Trump takes other people's money and then loses it and declares bankruptcy 4 times, corporate bankruptcy, yet he remains a personal billionaire. And so I'm just wondering how that makes him any different than Bernie Madoff. I mean, I'm just wondering.
It's a good question.
By the way, Ben, do not answer that question. You're a beat reporter. Do not answer
Yeah, no,
that question.
I got nothing for you there.
You got nothing there for me. But that's what I'm an opinion journalist. I'm allowed to say these kinds of things. But there really is no difference between Donald Trump and Bernie Madoff. There really isn't, other than Donald Trump uses the corporate bankruptcy code and Bernie Madoff didn't. Maybe he should have. I don't know. What else are you reporting on? When are you coming back? And what's next for Ben Terrace?
That's a good question. Got to figure out what's going on in Florida. Be here for a little bit and figure out what I got to write. I have to tell you though, my favorite part about this press conference was not even the shilling of of goods that may or may not exist, but was the fact that it was a press conference where the whole first 20 rows were filled with Donald Trump supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never seen anything like that. It was a catered affair beforehand. People were mingling about. There were members of this club. They all loved Donald Trump. They all hated the press, and they came to a press conference. And so when he was there, talking, it was a press conference that had wild cheering, and it must have been a very strange thing to watch on television, be like, why is the press all cheering for this guy? And of course, it was because he filled the place with buddies.
It's the greatest show on earth, Barnum and Bailey and Trump, and maybe basically is what it is.
So when he's at the debates and he accuses his competitors on the debate stage of filling it up with their special interest groups, at the same time he's doing the same thing just at his rallies or at his press conferences.
Yeah, I mean, obviously candidates bring lots of supporters to rallies. That's what a rally is. But when you bill it as a press conference, it's kind of a different thing.
Hey, let me ask you a question about his new thing of the press conference on debate night. Do you think that's a smart thing for him to do?
I mean, it plays to his strengths. Right?
Yeah, it sure does.
It does.
So I think it is smart because you put him in one of these fancy settings. He gets to show off how rich he is. Everybody comes in and sees something that he built, and then he just goes up there and he kind of is freewheeling for 45 minutes. And, it's what everybody is talking about today. They didn't even cut over to Hillary Clinton on television when she was talking because why do you want to miss a second from the Trump show? And, yeah, you get moments of him kind of being combative with the press. You get him, riling up his supporters. I mean, you get a little bit of everything this way.
Did he ask them to do the pledge, to raise their right hand and swear that they were going to vote for him?
There was none of that this time.
Interesting. I've got a different take on this. I mean, I think there was a debate yesterday on Morning Joe about this, where Gene Robinson and Joe, and they all went at each other, basically Gene saying, look, if you take a still shot of this, it looks like, some sort of Hitler Youth rally kind of a thing. But if you look at it, it's no different than, an American immigration a citizenship moment, if you will. Both sides are right and both sides are wrong on this. The bottom line is the appearance of it just looks bad. And if you take a frame shot of that, you can draw the comparisons. But also on the other side is, listen, Trump is a master of the press. Obviously, he gets us to talk about him every single day.
By the way, I saw him call in on his cell phone on every
that's
single
what he does.
Cable morning show this morning. He's
Yeah.
called into MSNBC.
Yep.
He called into CNN, and he called into Fox and Friends. And I don't know. Like, as a producer, this will be the hill that I die on. This drives me up a wall.
Well, you know why he's doing it.
Because he can control things.
No,
He's a
because
control
his
freak.
hair's not done.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
You got to get your hair did before you can go on TV, my friends. Trust me.
That's a good
Look
point.
at me. Look
That's
at
a
me.
good-
For God's sake.
That's a good
Hey,
point.
Ben, I appreciate you coming on. And keep us posted. Come back and let's do some more uncovering and reporting of what's going on down in American politics these days. It's Ben Terrace of the Washington Post. Hey,
Thanks,
Ben,
Ben.
what's your Twitter handle?
At B Terrace.
Follow that guy. He's a smart guy.
A
Thanks
must
lot, buddy.
follow,
He's a must follow. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll be back in a little bit.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor. But with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. I mean, how could you not? You get Start the Day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about, we talk about. The commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independence depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep free speech TV going. So now's the time for the spring pledge drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And it's Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press, and we are at 8:22 on a Wednesday morning. Good morning, America.
Hey, buddy.
Peter, tell me what's going on in your world. What do I need to know about Peter?
Look, man, we're doing our thing. I will say, again, because we can't talk about it enough, tonight is the signing at the book market in Glenview, Illinois. That's why Bill's not here, is he's out on his book tour talking about his book, Buyer's Remorse. So 6:30 p.m. this evening at the book market in Glenview. You can go meet Bill, get a copy of his book, get him to sign a copy of your book. And then tomorrow, a very special edition of the Bill Press Show as Bill broadcasts live from the studios of WCPT there in Chicago. So don't miss it.
We love it. And by the way, that means if you're buying your book from Bill at what's it called? The book market?
The book market.
The book market. You're supporting a small business. A local business.
Local business.
That's a big deal.
I'm all about that.
We like that. That's good stuff. Last night we had some primaries.
We did.
And it looks like Senator Sanders won 49.9% to Hillary Clinton's 48.2%. That's an upset.
It's a shocker.
Yep.
I mean, he was down 20 points there not that long ago.
The polls got it wrong. Every poll got it wrong.
Yeah.
But Sanders eked out a victory there, and that means he gets 65 delegates. Hillary Clinton got 68 because she had more of the superdelegates. Yeah, superdelegates, and you should know what superdelegates are. And if you don't, I can tell you how you can find out what a superdelegate is.
Go on.
You can go to my podcast, which is called Decode DC. And the last Thursday's podcast was all about how superdelegates came about.
Oh, nice.
And it's a fascinating thing because Democrats have superdelegates, Republicans don't. Although I'm beginning to think that they might wish they did.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Because here's what superdelegates are. They're party insiders. And now you know why I said that. Republicans wish they probably had superdelegates. At least the establishment did.
And superdelegates don't necessarily have to vote the way that the popular vote in the state went. They can give their votes to they're not bound to do anything. They can give it to whoever they want.
That's
so
right.
Even though Hillary Clinton did not win Michigan in a close race, there are superdelegates that will still give their vote to Hillary Clinton.
Hence why she has 3 more delegates than Senator Sanders.
Hence why Republicans would love
to have superdelegates.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Republicans, Trump won in Michigan last night 36.5%, which means that 63.5% of all Republicans that voted against Donald Trump. Now, I'm not good at math, but I can do simple math, addition, subtraction. 63.5% of Republican voters in Michigan yesterday said they thought Donald Trump sucked. There you go. I want you to think that through. Everybody who thinks that you should be voting for Donald Trump, if 63.5% of Republican voters think that Donald Trump sucks, think about the Democrats before you go vote for Donald Trump in the fall. Let's see. Listen, Trump, now he did better in Mississippi. 47.3%. I mean, he's up there close to 50%. 50%. That's not bad. But the big loser of the night is clearly Marco Rubio. The Drudge Report, the headline this morning.
Little Marco.
And it basically shrunk him. They photoshopped little Marco Rubio into a short person.
Yes.
And it was a little bit disconcerting because it was disconcerting. He won 9.3% last night in Michigan, 5.1% in Mississippi. These are not solid performances.
Look, let's just be very clear. Donald Trump and all of his wins in all of the states last night, with the exception of Idaho, where he lost to Ted Cruz.
Yes.
Ted Cruz came in first. All of his wins were double-digit wins.
Yes.
Donald Trump won by double digits.
That's right.
In every situation.
Except for Michigan. No, I'm sorry. No, he did Michigan. That's right.
Yeah, in Michigan,
right.
It was 36.5 to 24.
That's right. That's right.
So, but like, let's look at Michigan, for example. So Donald Trump, 36.5%. Ted Cruz, 24.9%.
Right.
John Kasich, very competitive at 24.3%.
That's big news for John Kasich, by the way.
And then the drop-off here, Marco Rubio, 9.3%. So in that scenario, Donald Trump gets 25 delegates, Ted Cruz gets 17 delegates, John Kasich gets 17 delegates. Marco Rubio picked up 0 delegates last night. He didn't have one single delegate. Over the course of the entire evening, Donald Trump picked up 72 delegates, Ted Cruz picked up 57, John Kasich picked up 17, TBD picked up 4, and Marco Rubio picked up 0.
I don't know what TBD is.
To be determined.
So something that we don't know what that is picked up 4 delegates, and Marco Rubio picked up 0.
0.
That defies all logic.
And that's sad. I almost kind of feel bad.
Well, I think it's funny, personally.
I do think it's hilarious, but there is some sadness to it in the sense that, like, the establishment Republicans see Marco Rubio as the guy, and boy, do people just hate him or what?
He's not even a one-term senator.
No.
How are you establishment?
And by the way, this is it.
He's not running for re-election.
He's not running for re-election.
If he doesn't win Florida, how does he win? What's his future in electoral politics?
By the way, he's going to lose Florida. I mean, he's not going to win Florida.
Well,
so I mean, like, we're at a point now where there are 2 scenarios that are going to play out. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump will be the nominee, or there will be a brokered convention. The math's just not there. I mean,
but these poll numbers that are coming out showing Trump he's starting to. There's some problems in his polling.
It might be.
I mean, let's see here. Trump, who earned 34%, down 3 points from January. This is an ABC News Washington Post poll released yesterday. Trump's at 34, down 3 points from January. Ted Cruz up 4 points to 25%. Rubio with 18. Kasich with 13. A one-on-one. Trump falls short against Cruz and Rubio when matched one-on-one by 13 points and 6 points respectively. I mean, there's a problem here for Donald Trump.
I agree.
I think
there
the
is a
American
problem.
people figured out he's a fraud. He's a con man.
I agree that there is a problem, but none of these guys are getting out anytime soon. I don't think they are.
You got to have money.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, even Marco Rubio said if we lose Florida, we're going on. Well, they want a broken convention.
Fight on, brother. Fight on. Speaking of fighting on, we'll be back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And now, as they say, a word from our sponsor. But with Free Speech TV, our sponsor is you. Yes, indeed. We know you're watching Free Speech TV because you love it. You wouldn't be watching otherwise. I mean, how could you not? You know, you get Start the Day with me, then you got Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman, David Packman, Amy Goodman, and the whole great lineup of hosts and their guests and the issues that they talk about. We talk about the commentary you get, the chance to express your opinions. It's a great network, one of a kind, the only totally independent progressive network in the country. That's why you love it, and we love you in return, and thank you for watching. But once in a while, we have to turn to you for help because you know that we count on you and depend on you and wouldn't be here without you. It's as simple as that. That's what makes free speech unique. No other network like it, not only because we are totally independent, but because I guess our independent depends on having no corporate money, no government money, no Koch brothers money, just whatever contributions, whatever pledges you can afford to make and are willing to make to keep free speech TV going. So now's the time for the Spring Pledge Drive. Don't put it off. Come on, we really count on you. Don't wait until the last minute. Do it today. Give us a call at 877-378-8669. Every single pledge counts. Just be as generous as you can is all we ask. You can go online also, make your pledge at freespeech.org. And we got a few little gifts we'll send out your way for helping us. If you can help us with $30, we'll send you a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, just $5 a month, a pledge of that. A Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt. Only one on your block to have one. $10 a month, a pledge of that. Copy of my new book, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let the Progressives Down, which I will sign for you. Signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. For $20 a month pledge, $240, a signed copy of Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. We always mention, and we love to do this, if you can afford and are willing to make a $1,000 pledge to Free Speech TV, we'll make it very special for you. You get to Washington, and Carol and I will take you out to dinner to one of our great classic restaurants right here on Capitol Hill, and the next morning invite you in to come in to meet the team and be here for a whole session of the Bill Press Show. We'll have a lot of fun together. So please, again, go to freespeech.org, make your pledge right now, or give us a call, 877-378-8669. Thank you once again.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Maybe not as loud as Donald Trump, but he's a hell of a lot smarter. This is your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election, The Bill Press Show.
And this is Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press. And joining me this morning is politics reporter for Mashable, Emily Kahn. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning.
It is nice to see you.
I'm glad you gave me the 8:30 spot after last night. So.
I know, right? This is the prime slot after a late night.
I didn't tell you, Jackie Kucinich was supposed to have this, and she bailed on me. Jackie bailed on
Look
me.
at you throwing her under the bus.
I am told. I'm backing up over her too. And then you know what I'm going to do? Put it in neutral. And
She was going to be
engine.
here for the hour, and then she said,
I know,
"Mm,
but
not
she's
too
a
late."
she's a good friend of mine. She's my drinking buddy. You should know that. Maybe you're going to be my
All right.
drinking buddy next.
She's been replaced.
No, because you know what? I will cheat. I will totally cheat. When it comes to good-looking women and drinking, I will do all of the above. I will do all of that. And I'm gay, so you're totally safe with me. You can follow Emily on Twitter at ConEmily. She's screwing with you there. And it's at CAHNEMILY. And, of course, you can follow Mashable at Mashable.com. Emily, everyone got it wrong in Michigan last night, but somebody got it right. His name is Bernie Sanders.
Right. I mean, understatement. The polling was so off. Nobody was expecting it. Projections had her
20
slated
points.
to win by, 99% chance that she would win Michigan.
She
so
lost.
It was the most surprising thing I've seen so far this election.
How big of a deal is it?
Well, so it raises questions, right, about these open primaries and who is voting in them.
Mm-hmm.
The upcoming primaries we have in Ohio and Illinois allow independent voters to vote, and those voters are breaking heavily for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And so are the pollsters there, which show Clinton with a wide lead, catching those voters? We don't know. And now we're all going to be watching on Tuesday thinking, are we going to have a replay of what happened in Michigan?
Secretary Clinton was in Ohio, and this is what she had to say last night.
You're here tonight, and you're going to do everything you can in this next week, along with people in Florida, Illinois, Missouri, North Carolina, who are going to the polls.
And guess what? That's the next battlegrounds right there. These are important states. North Carolina, Barack Obama won it once, lost it the second time by slimmest of margins. Illinois, an important state. Florida, a huge state. If you win Florida, you need one other southern state, and you are president of the United States as a Democrat, period. That's all you need.
Right.
Missouri, the swing state. So goes Missouri, blah, 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 blah. The question is this. If they got it wrong in Michigan, who's to say they're going to get it right in these other states?
I think Florida is the one we probably know the most about.
Tell me why.
It's a closed primary,
There you go.
which means we only are going to have registered Democrats voting there.
Yep.
It's an older state. My grandparents, shout out to them, both live down there.
Where do they live?
They live in Boca. We're the New York
I
Jews
love
who
it.
migrated down to Boca.
I
so
love it.
we're the
I love it.
stereotype.
You know what Boca means? Big mouth. That's what that means.
Yeah, so I think that that state is prime for her
Mhm.
to win.
Yeah.
But when you go to a place like Ohio, which one of the big trends and themes that we had in Michigan was trade and
Yes.
foreclosure crisis,
Yes.
and Michigan and Ohio overlap a lot with those issues, and so
Similar type voters.
It's the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
The Democrats there are union workers. Probably saw a lot of jobs go away with the manufacturing crisis.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of similarities between those states. It's also older voters, but as we saw in Michigan, Clinton still didn't do well in that state, which also skews a little older. So we just don't know. I mean, can polling really get it that wrong twice? I'm not sure. But that's what everyone's going to be wondering when they're watching results come in a week from.
It seems to me like Michigan is just such an anomaly. I mean, listen, Bernie Sanders won it fair and square.
Yeah, no, it was
It's
a win.
fact.
A win
He
is a
won
win
it.
is a win.
Yeah.
And I think that what he says, that both of these things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
That the polling got it wrong, and Bernie Sanders went into a Rust Belt area and won over, these Reagan Democrats, who believe that a
Reagan
guy like
Democrats.
Bernie Sanders can sort of bring more jobs, bring better things back to that part of the country, right? They can both be true. I don't know how the polling got it so wrong, but I'm sure the Bernie Sanders campaign doesn't mind.
Oh, yeah, you don't mind when you win.
Yeah.
And I think what needs to be said here is that this his campaign was basically being declared dead before last night. You know, we thought it was completely over. You know, last night was going to be one of the final nails in the coffin, and it was done. This gives him a new burst of momentum. You better believe he's going to fundraise gangbusters
no doubt
over
about
this.
it. He'll outraise her.
But at the same time, you know, he still did not outperform the number of pledged delegates that he needed to get.
Correct.
He's still at a deficit where he can win these states by, 2-point margins, but that's still not going to be enough to overtake her in the delegate count.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this interesting dynamic, which we saw in 2008 as well. I mean, Hillary Clinton won these same kind of states, and the primary kept going until June, but it was pretty apparent that she had no path forward. So, maybe we will see the same thing where we have this primary drag out till the convention, despite the fact that we all know who the nominee is going to be at the end of the day.
I'm fascinated by the fact that in 2000, Hillary Clinton in 2016 is campaigning like Barack Obama did in 2008. Bernie Sanders is campaigning like Hillary Clinton did in 2008.
It's almost completely flipped.
Right.
It's bizarre. She's winning the states
like
that Obama won.
It's like she's the sitting
and
president.
losing the states that she won in 2008.
That's exactly
right. So it's this odd dynamic.
Harken back to 2008 when Clinton conceded. There was a big meeting at the Mayflower here in Washington, D.C., amongst the donors, the big donors, the Hillary donors, and the anger in the room was crazy. I mean, people were pissed. And the idea that Hillary's voters were going to not vote for. My mother didn't vote for Barack Obama. She was a Hillary supporter.
She was a Puma?
She's a Puma. Absolutely. She certainly was. And the bottom line is, I'm wondering, let's fast forward to 2016. Let's say Hillary does win the nomination. What does she have to do to convince Bernie Sanders and his supporters to be on board?
I'm not sure she has to convince them to be on board if Donald Trump is the Republican nominee. I think he is enough of a boogeyman and enough of a fear for people that...
Unless you're in a labor union in the Rust Belt. As we've heard all morning.
All morning long,
yes,
we're getting calls from people,
I mean, people say that now, and they said it in 2008, that, tensions are high when you support your candidate so strongly.
Yeah.
It's really hard to admit today that you will vote for the other person, and I think that's why you see these head-to-head matchups looking the way they do.
Right.
I think Bernie Sanders supporters, who traditionally aren't Democrats, a lot of them are independents who don't have party loyalty, saying, I will never vote for her. But, I think at the end of the day, if we have Ted Cruz or Donald Trump as the nominee, who are probably the scariest you can get for either a Democrat who likes, equality and anti-racism
and the right to
immigration
organize
and all of that stuff.
Yes.
And for Ted Cruz, it's similar, but he's, has a more traditional coalition of Republicans behind him, so you can know kind of the campaign he's going to run. So, we still don't know. I still cannot believe that Donald Trump could win, but I've predicted things this entire cycle that have been wrong, so who knows?
You and every other reporter in Washington, D.C., including me. John Kasich. I have more and more people asking me off the record what I think about John Kasich, and here's what I think about John Kasich on the record. I think he comes across as a reasonable guy. I think he comes across as a guy who in Ohio tried to bust the unions and he lost, and the next day gave a press conference and said, I lost.
Yeah.
I think John Kasich is a creature of Washington, D.C. I think people like him. I think when he hugged that guy in South Carolina who cried, the country fell in love with him to a large degree. The people at least were watching. I think John Kasich, if he had the money, would be a credible force in the Republican Party. And he took Medicaid.
Right.
I mean, this is a guy who he gets it. He knows how to thread that needle. Do you think does he have any chance? I'm not. Let me be terrifyingly clear. I'm not voting for John Kasich. I'm a Democrat. I vote for Democrats. America.
John Kasich came really close to second place in Michigan last night.
Right,
and that's obviously right next door to
he got 24.3%.
At this point, when you have half of the states having voted, coming really close to second place is like saying,
doesn't mean much.
I came really close. I got 3 out of the 5 numbers for the Powerball. It didn't help me. I didn't win $500 million or whatever.
Right. There's only one winner of the Kentucky Derby, right? So here's my question. Does he stay in contention long enough to be a VP nominee? To be the VP nominee for any of these, for Trump or Cruz? And if he does, that puts Ohio in play. Is he scary to us?
I do not think that Ted Cruz would pick John Kasich as his VP nominee. First of all, John Kasich has said he doesn't want to be the VP nominee. So take that with...
So did Joe Biden.
Yeah, say
last time I checked, he's still the vice president.
Right,
exactly.
But at the same time, Ted Cruz's whole platform has been that he's this conservative and he has these conservative principles that he never strays from. There is no way on this earth that Ted Cruz would pick a guy who expanded Medicaid and, I mean, there's no way.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Donald Trump, I mean, I don't know what John Kasich's plans are in the future, but when your entire party hates this man so much that they have created a campaign called Never Trump to say they will never vote for him, why would John Kasich, whose whole thing was saying how Donald Trump is horrible and the politics that he hates, why would he agree to be a vice presidential running mate for that guy?
Well, the three of them got up on that stage in the last debate and said, we're just going to support whoever the nominee is. If that's Trump, they're supporting him.
Maybe so. I don't know.
Emily Kahn with Mashable. She's going to be with us for a little bit more. We'll be right back after this short momentary break.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30 will send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of Buyer's signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, if you can afford that for Free Speech TV, we'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
And Bill is in Chicago, and he's going to be a book signing tonight for his book, Buyer's Remorse. It's going to be in Glenview, Illinois, 6:30 p.m. at the the Book Market.
The Book Market, not the World Market.
Not the World Market, although you should go by there.
Some wonderful British candies there, if you like.
Listen, World Market's got good, decent wine.
Terrific wicker. They have great wicker there.
They have great wicker.
Yeah, great wicker furniture.
Wicker and wine. God, that may be the gayest thing you've
What
ever
do you
said.
want?
Yes. What more do you want than wicker and wine?
Wicker and wine.
But, so when you leave World Market, could you please go over to the Book Market on Navy Boulevard at 6:30 p.m. And Bill will be there, and he's going to be signing his book. And if you don't show up, then don't blame yourself for not reading it. It's a good book. And with me is still Emily Kahn from Mashable. Emily, good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see you
Yep.
again. We were talking earlier about this problem with Trump and his numbers. I want to walk through. Trump has demographics matter.
Yes.
Okay.
Understatement of the morning.
Understatement in the morning. Chicks matter, gays matter, Hispanics matter, African Americans matter. People matter. White people matter. Okay. So if we know that demographics matter, how does Donald Trump win, considering he's offended all of the above?
I cannot see it. There was a Washington Post poll out, I think it was last week, to be honest with you. I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't know what time it is anymore, but it came out recently.
It's 8:50 on a Wednesday on March 9th, just so you know.
That showed he has a negative 64% approval rating among Hispanics. There was a story that came out that there's more Hispanics applying for citizenship.
Who were the 36%?
You imagine they're applying for, to get their citizenship to vote in this election.
Yeah.
And when you go at these rallies and the people are chanting "Build a Wall" and talking about Mexican immigrants, those people are not going to break Trump's way. You cannot win Florida if you are losing Hispanics by 64 percentage points. I think Romney lost them by 17 percentage points, and that was too much. I mean, there is just no way that you can be president of the United States if you're losing a crucial demographic group like that.
Do Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, do either of them, whoever gets the nomination, does that person have to put a Hispanic on the ticket as the vice presidential nominee?
We've heard that from Clinton's campaign. There's been all these rumors that the HUD secretary, one of the Castro twins,
Perez, the Castro
brothers,
right.
Are going to be on the ticket. But at this point, she's so ahead with Hispanics. I'm not sure. I think she needs a white man to get some of the white men who aren't convinced of a Clinton candidacy to go her way. But to be honest with you, I have to say this. Everyone, I think, overstates the importance of the vice presidential nominee. Unless they are a huge liability like Sarah Palin was in 2008, you don't go to the polls because you like who the vice presidential nominee is. You just don't. That's not, I don't like Donald Trump, but John Kasich is the vice presidential nominee, so I guess I'll vote for that ticket. I want to go out and find someone who would say that. I think you'd have a very hard time.
The last two vice presidential nominees that became vice presidents, Joe Biden and Dick Cheney. Interesting, because they basically gave the presidential nominees street cred on foreign policy and defense.
Right. Well,
and
Bernie
no one
Sanders
that.
will, if he was the nominee, would certainly need that because as of right now, that's his Achilles heel. I mean, whenever you watch him talk about on debate stages, I mean, that's always where he comes across, super weak. But in Clinton's case,
I mean, well, he's going to be at a disadvantage no matter what. I mean, she was Secretary of State,
right?
How do you can't top those credentials when it comes to? She doesn't need bucking up there. She needs bucking up here. Bernie would need that.
Well, there was some speculation that the Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, who has a lot of street cred with the liberal base, he was a name that someone threw out last night, I heard during results. I don't think that would be the case because then Kasich would be able to appoint his successor, and then you'd have a special election in Ohio. That's a challenge.
Right.
But I could see her picking someone like that to give her that credibility with the liberals who fear that she's too that she's too moderate of a candidate.
Interesting stuff, isn't it? Well, here's the deal. The deal is we know we're going to have a Democratic nominee in the fall or this summer, and that's a good thing. We know we're going to have a Republican nominee in the summer at the conventions in Cleveland and Philly, and they're going to go head-to-head from basically August 1st until November 8th. May the best man or woman win.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is,
Buckle
if
up,
you're in a
Buttercup.
labor union and you vote for a Republican, don't come complaining to me after the Supreme Court rules in June against your ability to contribute and the Friedrichs decision. And don't complain when you lose your home. And don't complain when you lose your pension. Don't complain when you lose your 401k. Because if you do, you'll have no one to blame but yourself for voting for Donald Trump. That's a fact of life. Emily Kahn, thank you for being here. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having
Follow
me.
her at Kahn Emily on Twitter. You can follow me at Jimmy's Politics on Twitter. And we will be right back.
Your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends and neighbors, a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Free Speech TV community and watching the show every day. Can't tell you how much it means to us. I mean, just the idea that you are out there, you're following the show, you like what we're talking about, you give us a call. We hear from so many of you that we know are watching on Free Speech TV, and it really means a lot to us. Thank you for being part of that, and continue to do so. Tell all of your friends. And while we're at it, of course, we also need your help here on Free Speech TV because we got a great thing going. As you know, the only totally independent, totally progressive TV channel that exists today. You're lucky to have it, but we need your help to keep at it. Free Speech TV, as you know, we're in existence not because we get any corporate money, because we don't, not because we get any government money, because we don't, or no Koch brothers money. We don't pay our guests. They don't pay us to be on the show. We depend solely on you, your generosity, and your support. And so this spring, we turn to you once again to be as generous as you can with your pledge to Free Speech TV, again, to keep this great partnership going. If you could help us with just $30, a pledge of $30, we'll send you out a Bill Press Show Eco Journal and a pen set. For $60, a great little Free Speech TV and Stamp Stampede T-shirt to impress your friends with. If you can help us with just $10 a month, a pledge of $120, a copy of my latest book, the very controversial, infamous book maybe now, Buyer's Remorse, How Obama Let Progressives Down. That's a signed copy, plus a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution. For $240, you get a copy of Buyer's signed copy of my book, Buyer's Remorse, that Free Speech TV Stamp Stampede T-shirt, and a Free Speech TV canvas bag. And for $1,000, you can afford that for Free Speech TV. We'll make it very, very special. You get yourself to Washington. Carol and I, my wife, will take you and a friend out to dinner, and we'll invite you in the next morning to meet the team here and sit in on a edition of the Bill Press Show. But again, it is so important to keep this partnership going. We couldn't do it without you, and I hope you feel that you couldn't get through your day without us. We need you to make your pledge. Don't put it off. Do it now, and do it again. Be as generous as you can. That's all we ask. The number to call is 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go to freespeech.org, and we thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And this is Jimmy Williams in wrapping up for Bill Press, who is off this morning, but he will be back tomorrow morning live from Chicago. WCBT, is that right? CPT out of Chicago. That's exactly right. Well, it's an interesting morning. I got a little passionate about not party loyalty, but about common sense. And the bottom line is, I'm of this school of thought, Peter. If a Democrat votes for a Republican in the fall, because you don't like the Democrat, then just do me a favor. Just don't vote. Don't vote. If you can't handle voting for Hillary Clinton, then don't vote. It's a fact of life.
Nice one.
But guess what? If you think that Donald Trump's going to be your guy, or Ted Cruz is going to be your guy, or Marco Rubio is going to be your guy, then you go vote for that person and see what happens with your pension. Because I'm not going to be here to bail you out this time. Because you know what? You don't deserve being bailed out at that point in time. It's Jimmy Williams in for Bill Press. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Peter, Jamie,
Thank
Ray,
you, Jimmy.
Everybody, Monty, thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.